Why would you use a small knife to cut a big orange?
Glossier found shaking in its boy brow boots.
The real gays are calling it a dickhead.
This elevator music is shit. Change it or I'm never coming back. Like,
it's what a woo-woo girl would call manifestation.
If she wants to wear a dead woman's dress, she can wear that.
why would you sleep with someone I was at odds with?
My therapist told me that I was really displaying an incredible level of radical acceptance.
It's still special, but I was like, okay, it might not be because I'm so amazing.
Theater gays stay winning.
That woman's dead now, thank God.
Oh, honey, I'm a bad witch.
100, do you mind if I rant for a little bit?
Actually, I do. Because first of all, you've been gone, being an absentee mother to our listeners. Deadbeat mom alert.
Well,
and look at you with my sunglasses on. Oof.
Yours.
Girl, you have a lot of nerve.
They're returned home to their rightful owner, to the rightful NASA. Shoot.
I don't like that. I don't like your two curls saying that.
Shut the fuck up.
Okay, go say what you're gonna say.
Well, no, I'm gonna be actually kind of serious for all of 3 seconds before I get too irritated. Taurus tings. Which is, no way for us to not acknowledge the election. Pop culture is political, baby. And politics are actually pop culture. So, I don't want to belabor that issue, but I do want to say very earnestly, community care over everything. America has kind of always been a hellish place. I'm not really shocked because I'm not white. So that's where I come from. But
you know what I was thinking about? Remember all of the women's march? Like all like the
pink
white.
hats?
Yeah. Like the white men, the white women who'd be like those signs say like, screw it, I'll do it, - black women. Like, where are they right now?
Where are they?
Like, are they like, turn this on?
Did they Pokemon go to the polls?
They've kind of, these black women have been doing a lot. Yeah. We kind of are relying them for a lot.
I'm like, if I ever sound like I'm on my high horse, it's because we're black women. Okay, so we saw the poll results. We have the numbers on our side, except for that random little 7%. I don't know what y'all were doing. But I just want to end on that note to be like, community first, invest in your local grassroots organizations, your local government, your immediate community, protect trans people. Boots, order some abortion pills stat. I'm just going to say what needs to be said.
Wait, on the topic of local government, though.
Let's talk about local government, though.
Let's talk about local government. I love local government all of a sudden because tell me why.
I love that we're both doing like a little with our nails, but we both don't have nails. But that's how much we're standing.
I actually just got my nails done yesterday because I broke one and it was too much for me. Okay, no. Chi.
Say.
Let me say this, sir. Let me say this guest sat right in that chair. Passed a bill, no more broker fees.
No more broker fees.
And they have now the representatives have like overwhelming majority so that even if Eric Adams tries to block it, he can't.
Say it. And on top of that, Prop 1 passed. So, there's hope. There's protections in place. Shout out to fucking New York. But we hope to spread that love everywhere else. Shout out to Chi. If you haven't listened to that episode, feel free to go back. It's great. He's great. So that's my little, I'm going to step down from my podium.
Well, now you've done pissed me off.
Now
okay,
what?
Because I don't know if you saw, so, okay, the election happens. Many people are upset. Many people are in shock.
Shocked.
My therapist told me that I was really displaying an incredible level of radical acceptance.
Did you pull out a cigarette and go, girl, anyway, so.
What? No, she's like, you sound very like healthy about all of this. I was like, yeah, no, I mean, it's happening.
Yeah.
I don't know what else I can do.
You've kind of only ever been black in America, so.
Yeah. No, I could totally go read the comments of a New York Times article and then really get worked up again.
Sure.
But anyway, then I got on Twitter and I was like scrolling Pop Crave, as I want to do. And Lizzo posted a top, top down kind of POV of a white sheet of paper. And she was holding a pen in such a way that it has sent chills down the spine of like my grandchildren. Like the chills that I got reverberated throughout history. I'm telling you, I have a pen right here.
Like, how would you describe that iron grip?
It wasn't an iron grip. I was like watching the way she chose a pen. I said, "Oh, these lyrics make sense." Now it's
Your
all starting to
career
add
makes
up.
sense. Yeah.
Now it's starting to add, now the Kmart music, it's all kind of making sense. Okay, she holds the pen. Swear to God, on her ring finger like this, like that.
No, it's giving Chicken Run. It's giving Chicken Little.
I said, oh, girl.
It's giving Chicken Scratch.
I said, put that away. Of course, the message was dumb as hell. Sending love to the world.
I'm not sending love to the world.
XOXO Lizzo. But then there's only one Z in Lizzo, and the Z looks like a 7. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But then I tweeted about it, and someone was like, talk about this in the pod.
Really? There was a request?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I'm taking reader requests.
Okay. We're the people's princess. We listen to our community. Unlike America. We care.
Speaking of the people, today we're going to be talking about a mother of the people.
Yes.
Ms. Martha Stewart. And her documentary on Netflix, which is so good. We'll also be talking about the epidemic. Listen, I've tested positive. The hot male actor lookalike contest around the country / globe. And then we'll have our friend, Chris Murphy, Vanity Fair staff writer and comedian, talk about Wicked.
And don't forget that we have a bonus segment that drops every Thursday only on Wondery Plus. This week, we're discussing People's incredibly wrong and some incredibly correct 2024 Sexiest Men Alive issue. Subscribe to Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts to check that out.
So let me just say this. Are you looking for a home for your worst opinions?
Are you a hater first, but a lover of pop culture second? Consider this a glorified group chat, but we're not calling you out. No, we're calling you in. It's a safe space.
To talk shit.
But of course, from Wondery, I'm Peyton Diggs.
And I'm Hunter Harris.
And this is Let Me Say This.
Let me say this.
Let me say this.
Let me say this.
So we watched Martha, the new Netflix documentary that basically takes you through Martha's upbringing, her abusive father, her real ice cold queen mother, and really tells you this full story of how she kind of built an empire from scratch, from catering to serving cunt on Instagram. Sorry. And I, for one, fucking loved it. I ate it up. Like I said last week, if you remember, good documentaries take time. Like, you have to let a bitch cook, quite literally, in this situation. Like, I felt like this was exactly the time that I wanted and was craving a documentary on Martha Stewart, someone who I've always been in the cultural zeitgeist, but felt like a real full story that touched on the trial of it all, the jail time of it all, the lovers and then some of it all. I really enjoyed it. Did you like it? What was your kind of like quick hot take? Did you like it?
I mean, I liked hearing about Martha Stewart's life. I liked her talking about it. I think, to your point, it's like so many documentaries now like feel so reactive, feel like they're really just trying to like capture a moment, like mostly like a true crime story. And it's like the real work of like what makes a story more interesting or like more rich is like having like seeing like the effects in like retrospect, where it's not like, oh, we're talking about this like immediately after a trial or immediately after whatever. It's like, oh, when she says this trial was like such a small part of an 83-year life, I'm like, actually, T, low-key. And fuck you, James Comey again.
She literally says, big boobs. Child. Anyway, so like a blip on the timeline.
But then I think that's also very revealing too when they're reading her diaries from prison and she's like, I feel so alone. I feel so isolated. Her boyfriend would even text her back.
Visited once.
I was like, oh, girl. Like, those are the things that I'm like, oh, what's that smell? It smells like bitch in here. Those are things that I was like very interested in. But then what else? There were so many things that like I don't think I could have appreciated before. Like, just knowing about Martha Stewart through my entire life, obviously. Even my childhood best friend's grandmother had a like mat outside of her, like doormat outside of her house that said Martha Stewart doesn't live here. And that was like
okay,
they were junky as hell. They were white and junky as hell. We don't even get into them, but just how junky you think? Junkier. Okay.
Damn, Hunter.
No, sorry. I'm gonna DM next.
I know. Leave those white people alone.
Anyway, but what I mean is that like hearing about how she literally started just a woman who like liked to do these things, like wanted to cook, wanted to kind of build a home, and how she and her husband at the time would like make these like outdoor projects, like renovation projects in their old house, all of that stuff. I was like, oh, this is like fascinating. Also, she was beautiful. What a babe. I was like, hot girl.
I knew. Well, sorry. wake up, Hunter.
No, I know that she's hot, but I meant like she was just so like, oh my God, Glossier found shaking in its boy brow boots.
Yeah, eleganza down.
Yeah.
I will say I didn't realize how much modeling at that time played a part in her career.
Yeah.
Like I knew she was pretty, but I didn't know she was monetizing it,
I think
honestly.
that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like I knew she was always, because obviously that is such a big part of like a cultural figure who is who's monetizing homemaking, like that she is just beautiful and like lives a life that you want to live. But it's like the glamour that feels so like, whether she was making money from this or not, she would probably be doing it anyway. Like that's how authentic it felt to her versus like Nora Smith, should I say.
But something that I didn't know was that she had a daughter. I didn't even know. And then I was talking to a few friends, and a lot of people, maybe not necessarily after this documentary, but so many people forget that she has a daughter, and it's not lost on me considering her relationship with her parents. And then the way that they talk about that dynamic and how it was just homemaking was an interest for Martha, but not necessarily like the motherhood aspect of, domesticity.
Yeah.
And it was so, okay, maybe comical is not the right word for the daughter. Like she wouldn't maybe use that word, but I was shocked at that. I didn't know that she had a kid.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Because you have brought up the parents a lot. Her dad, remind me, her dad was anti-Semitic and also hit her. And then her mom was just kind of like a cold figure in her life. What was that like?
It seemed like she didn't know how to be a mother based off of her relationship with her mother. Like she was only taught kind of frigid, cold ways of interacting. Yes. And so by proxy, she didn't know. She wasn't taught how to give that like empathy or softness or kindness or participate in her daughter's life in a way that felt a little bit more rich and a little bit more present. And also on top of it, she was just so busy. Yeah. So I think it not only was like a scheduling thing, it was also just like her inability to show up for her daughter in a way that maybe most daughters would want their mothers to.
Well, but I think they've repaired now. And now she has a very rich life with her grandchildren. Yeah. From what every interview she gives. But I guess I was also kind of, I was just into the relationship of it all with her husband. Her husband, who she was like, they were kind of like really, as the Bible would say, equally yoked. And then this man starts running around talking about, then she's like, I kissed a man in Rome because I was so taken by the beauty of a chapel. And it was like, well, it's just a kiss. Like, what are you going to do?
She's
Lock
like,
her
grow
up.
Yeah.
literally.
But I actually really loved her reframed definition of an affair. Like she was like, it doesn't really count unless you're in love or it's like a continued action. And something about that's so queer to me actually is to be like, no, hold on, it's blurry. Like it's just a cathedral that's gorgeous.
I didn't even think, the cathedral, yes, but her actual affair when she's going in on her husband's affair, she was like, and I hated that bitch, and he moved her into our home, and I was like, okay, now you got me. Like I'm really on your side. And then the interview, the RJ King, the documentary, the filmmaker is like.
But didn't you have an affair?
Didn't you have an affair, early in your marriage? She's like, well, be serious.
And
I'm kind of on her side.
Me too.
No, I was like, because you can't move another woman into my house. And the fact, now you're going to be worked up.
Wait, RJ King is like a gay Instagram model. Going back for a second. Hunter did say RJ King. I think that's like a really hot gay Instagram boy. God bless you. The actual name is RJ Cutler. Please insert that here. Shout out to you both.
I wish them both the best. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay. I think the other piece of this that like really just has this animosity for me and maybe for Martha as well is that her husband not only had his girlfriend living with them, but that this woman was like working for them, like was working for her.
Well, I think that had started before the affair started. Like something had happened to her house, I think, and Martha was like, oh, you can like come stay here since you're already working with us. You need to be on the property. And then the affair started. So it's like, what's that T.I. And Tiny fight that was like, come on, you know the one we literally acted out all the time.
Yes.
Why would you sleep with someone I was at odds with? And like was the same situation. Someone was working for them, and that's who T.I. slept with. But equating T.I. and Tiny and Martha Stewart, and actually incredibly correct for me to do that. But I feel like the contrast of affairs is an important one. Like it's fair that she was like, what the fuck ever. I like slept with this guy a few times. He was fine as fuck. You would do the same thing.
Yes, but also in her diary entries when she's like, how could you do this to us? How could you do this to our family? Like, have you no shame at all? Like, how dare you? And of course, I'm midway through the documentary watching it. I'm Googling, where is this man now? What is it? Andy? I'm like, where is Andy now? Andy's wife, she got on Facebook and was talking about, Andy's ex-wife is talking about us again. I was like, Andy's ex-wife? Bitch, you mean Martha Stewart.
Real true lovers are back. Real true messy queens are back.
I can feel my blood pressure going up, up. I'm getting so mad just thinking about it.
Okay, I say this with love and respect because this is my mother. I thought she would have been more therapy by now because it seemed really difficult for Martha Stewart to talk about like the personal elements of her life, especially the relationships. And I thought that she would have, with maybe the distance from it and just being a rich older woman, would have maybe come into a little bit more understanding and reflection of some more difficult things to talk about. She seemed really uncomfortable having conversations about the cheating. Like what she literally said, can we move on now? Can we talk about happier things in a way that was like, oh, your shoulders are tight. And like, this is surprisingly difficult for you. You know, don't you think of older women? Hunter, what is there? Hunter's new to therapy. So we're
what are you talking about? She should be more. She was right. She was right and he was wrong.
But it's
she should act like she wasn't right.
I don't think it's an acting thing. I think it seemed like shockingly difficult for her to have that conversation. It didn't seem like it was, yeah, what the fuck ever this happened. It just seemed like there's a tenseness in her mannerisms.
Yeah, she still seemed mad. And I'm mad. That's my sister and I'm mad on her behalf.
You grudge holding ass motherfuckers. Oh my God.
I saw this thing today about how crows can hold grudges for 17 years. I was like, that's nothing.
Hunter said,
that's nothing to me.
You're so annoying.
No, but I do. Okay, speaking of grudges, I want to talk about the trial.
Yes.
Because I felt like something about the trial, I did not like that part of the documentary. And Martha Stewart gave an interview to the New York Times where they were asking her what she thought about the movie. And she thought that the trial was like, you know, so crazily overstated in her life story, which I think is probably not true. But I do think that the way that the doc presented the trial in a very kind of clear, narrative-driven way, it was not interesting to me. Because it's like it was light insider trading, very small insider trading. And it was James Comey who would, you know, eventually fuck out the 2016 election. And he was really driving this a kind of like witch hunt against the most famous American self-made woman billionaire, or even the first. And then it's like she goes into prison, gets every kind of stereotypically like gloom and doom, and then it's like, oh, and guess what? Now she's like teaching them how to do stuff, her other inmates, and now it's like now it's so happy, and that arc just seemed way too clean to me, and I was like, this is like not working for me. But I do, and it also kind of like we never really like write the story after that. It's like how she kind of builds back up, other than like the Justin Bieber roast. It just kind of like fits too cleanly into a narrative that I was like, that's probably why she was pissed, because you're like kind of discounting everything that she has done that's made herself work, if that makes sense.
No, I completely agree with that. Actually, it did feel really buttoned up in this way.
And then we get that little boy, the 20-something-year-old talking about, oh, I showed up to court, I was happy to talk about her. I was like, no, the boy being like, he was mean, she was mean to me on the phone. I said, and she should have been meaner.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, she should have been meaner.
When she said, this elevator music is shit, change it or I'm never coming back. Like, period. I think that's fair. I think that's just good feedback. Never trust a twink. If the Martha Stewart documentary taught me anything, never trust a twink. He was too happy with his shoulders back walking in that courthouse.
He walked in a court I don't know, like it was a catwalk.
Hunter just called him a faggot.
No, I didn't.
Like it was a catwalk. Like he was on RuPaul's Drag Race.
I did not say that. I was actually thinking, if you will, must know about Cardi B in her legal action wig.
Wait.
But like that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah. Wait, speaking of grudges again, the Post writer that she was like, and she's dead now. A writer in the Post had written
about the trial every single day of the trial, and was like really leading, you know, another witch hunt in the New York Post against her. And then she was like, well, that woman's dead now, thank God.
And the woman literally wrote, "Hey Martha, you gloated about the death of a Post columnist, but I'm alive, bitch." White women are actually, no, I'm not saying after my political briefing this morning, not being white women are back. No, but that's kind of white mess I do appreciate.
I don't know. She didn't really have that smoke for me.
I liked it.
I wasn't really into it.
All right, okay.
But I do want to talk about Martha when she talked to the New York Times about what she didn't like about the documentary in so many parts. One part which I really liked and think is probably correct. She said, my magazine, my Martha Stewart magazine, which you might say is traditional, was the most modern home magazine ever created. We had avant-garde photography. Nobody ever showed a puff pastry the way I showed it. And I was like, and that's probably tea.
Yeah.
Like, legit. And then she was talking about how she hated the music, which I like that she said, this classical music has nothing to do with me. Like, she wanted it to be scored by Snoop Dogg or Dr. Dre or something like that. But like, I liked that kind of thing where she has a narrative in her head that like this man was kind of placing it upon her that did not really apply to her. All of the stuff about how she seems so traditionally like buttoned up or super proper or super like conservative, that none of that ever seemed to reflect how she actually moves within the world. When she's like, I'm actually like extremely demanding boss, such a perfectionist, kind of a pain to work with, and relentless in my pursuit of like being one of the most successful female businesswoman ever.
Yeah, and like takes a lot of pride and ownership in that.
Yes,
like,
that's what I'm saying.
Yes. Like, I think there's this element of like we're supposed to assume that she has like shame about that, but really she's like, no, I'm standing 10 toes down on that, because why would you use a small knife to cut a big orange?
She said, how dare you reach for that little knife?
She said, no, but like deadass look me in the eye and tell me why that makes sense.
She said, what was going on here to make that happen?
If you have a black mother, it's just like, duh.
It's a day ending in Y.
Exactly. Like, I just didn't feel like this idea of her being painted as any kind of villain or bitch like landed for me at all. And I think obviously very different time when she was peaking in her, I guess right before the trial, and they wanted to knock her down a peg.
Yeah.
God forbid a woman has a goal. But yeah, I didn't find myself really ever siding with the idea that, did she say things in a bitchy way? Sure. Is she a bitch?
Who among us?
No.
Who among us? Excuse me.
I'm friends with Hunter Yvonne Harris. Okay, you think that's child's play to me? Okay.
I was gonna say I finished watching this movie. Oh, girl, you should have seen me walking around my house. I said, "Oh, actually, I'm not changing a thing about myself." No, perfectionist rights.
Hunter cancels therapy for like the next month.
What am I saying? Oh, so she was relentless and said this needs to be done perfectly, or it shouldn't be done at all. And look at her now.
I mean, that's part of like the industry that she's in also. Like, it is presentation, it is perfection. Like, that's what makes her so successful, is literally her attention to detail. Commenting on down to the music and like the score of the documentary, ate that. She's consistent at the very least.
And that's kind of why her talk show, the Daily Show that she was doing with the Apprentice guy, like why it didn't work, because it wasn't completely her vision, which I found very inspiring as someone who feels, the pull of capitalism to continually compromise myself. But okay, I want to end here when the director said on the podcast The Town with Matt Bellany, responding to Martha Stewart saying like, it wasn't surprising to me that she would have made a different film, but she gave me her feedback and then she was upset why I didn't make the changes, blah blah blah. And so the one change he did make was at over the end credits, he put the Snoop Pharrell song Beautiful. And why did that strike me as the biggest fuck you in the world? Oh, it made me mad. It made me mad all over again. I said, oh, how dare you?
And I will say, just to kind of close this out, our producer did ask, what sign is Martha Stewart? And I Googled, and she's a Leo. And would you be shocked that there's another Leo in the room with us right now? So everyone beware.
I don't think anything's wrong with Martha Stewart.
I'm just like, I actually don't see a damn thing
and
wrong.
It wasn't even insider trading if you want to get into it.
Oh, Jesus. No, rap. Yeah. Theater gays stay winning. Well, that's a lie, actually. But this week we are, because this week the live action Wicked finally comes out. Before Wicked opens on November 22nd, we had to catch up with our dear friend and lover, Chris Murphy, a Vanity Fair staff writer who profiled Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo for the November 2024 issue.
Also, Chris just worked on the iconic Hollywood cover.
This is true.
We will be discussing that. Do not worry.
There's a lot. Theater gays stay winning, as Peyton said.
Big asterisk on that, but sometimes true.
Sometimes. One beautiful moment.
Only right now. You're doing it for us. Yeah.
I have a very important question. Are you a lover or a hater?
Okay, I've thought about this a lot. I think I'm a lover sun, hater moon, lover rising. So I think there's a little bit more lover in my chart.
Okay, in your chart.
Than hater, but internally, inside, it's all hater all the time. But I think I present as lover, and I think deep down, there's a love in there.
The core is love.
The
If you
core
look
is
really,
love.
really deep.
But you have to go really far inside. It's like a sandwich. Like lover outside, hater in the middle, lover deep down.
A lover BLT.
A lover
Yeah,
BLT.
went from very lesbian to very straight man, actually. It's so fast.
Okay,
way
now
too
I
fast.
hate that, so maybe I'm a hater.
Yeah.
Okay, are you... obvious question. Are you a lover or hater of Wicked?
Well, I think I'm maybe the number one lover in the world.
I think you are.
now.
You're the number one. You're the Club Chalamet of Wicked.
Wait, yes.
I'm making a hat.
Club
A
Alphaba.
Club Alphaba hat. Club Alphaba and Galinda.
I would buy your
would
merch.
100%. I love her.
But before we get too far into that, can you talk to us a little bit about your own personal musical theater lore?
Oh.
How did Wicked play a role in your life?
So I assume we have 3 hours. Just to
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Just
one
riff.
question. Okay, I guess the short version is I remember when I was 10 years old, I heard Idina Menzel on Z100, a commercial for it on Z100, because that's what I used to listen to every morning before like 4th grade or whatever. And I was like, well, I have to see this musical. I think this is going to change my life. Immediately asked my parents, I'm like, for my 11th birthday, we're going to go see Wicked.
Yeah.
In 2004, we're seeing Wicked. And that's exactly what we did. I did get made fun of a lot. Sort of as me and like 5 of my best girlies.
Confuses me.
Oh.
Could you imagine?
So random.
Yeah, no boys wanted to come with me other than my godbrother who had to. So it was me and like 4 girls from I guess it was 5th grade. I don't remember what grade. Like 4 girls from my class and my godbrother and my sister went to see Wicked for my 11th birthday. And honey, I was changed for good.
Let me say, where are those bitches now?
Oh
where
my
are
God.
those boys who didn't want to go now?
One works in TV, one works in PR, 3 others I've lost contact with.
I'm so glad that you're keeping in touch.
I know.
am.
The
You're
3
like,
others are
wow,
in the
and
closet.
look what's
in
come
the
back
closet, and
around.
they'll come out. But yeah, and then I literally then I went to theater camp because I was so obsessed with it and became like a literal like musical theater gay boy. And just like, it was really like the piece of culture that I was like, oh, well, I'm hooked. And, you know, the stage play isn't perfect, you know, no shade. There are some notes to be had, but it kind of slaps. You have to admit that it slaps.
Yeah. It's really moving, especially as an adult, like working in media, when you can work on something or talk about something or anything that's like your actual genesis.
Yes.
Like that is so important to like how you became the person that you are with the taste that you have.
Yeah, there's no way that I'd be sitting here with you all if like I did not see Wicked at 11 and was like, oh, I'm going to listen to this and sing this in the car every day. God bless my mother.
Yes,
the amount of time she heard me go for the like the amount of time she had to sit through that. I mean, you're the singer here. I listen to the podcast.
Did we just get that? I just want to make sure we got that. Thank you.
But yeah, it's a lot of time. It's really baked into like the DNA of my like cultural self in a real way.
Yeah.
I love.
And what like a rarity to get to experience something that's like, oh, this raised me and now I get to participate in a whole new way as a full-fledged adult.
It's crazy. It had to take 20 years. Thank God that so many people couldn't pull it off.
But see, you bought low and look paying off dividends. Hello, you just won the stock market.
Low, the only person the only gay boy interested in Wicked. You bought low. No, price
no,
was
I had
high.
to beat out a lot of other gay boys.
True. But can you actually talk to us about that? Like, how did this profile come about?
Well, I mean, the timing is just really insane and in a part really lucky that like the movie took so long to be made.
Yeah.
And then it just so happened that like I'm at Vanity Fair and I'm the one who's like, and I love all my colleagues and they're all so brilliant and so great. I am the musical theater. I would say I've sort of musical theaters. I've planted my flag in that. And anybody can cover it if they want. 100%, I won't be mad. But I said, this is for me. This is my thing. And so I started writing about like when they got cast, Ariana and Cynthia.
I was gonna say, like, not to be like too much of a stan right now, but I remember literally the piecemeal updates you would write about, like talking to John Chu, even like I almost want to say a year ago.
It was like a year ago, like even like a year and a half ago, like when they got cast, and then when they decided it was going to be 2 movies, or they announced it was going to be 2 movies. So I was doing like all of this like little work leading up to it, and then bam, for the April issue of this year, they were like, let's just do a first look on Wicked, like. Chris, like, you're the guy who writes about Wicked, like, here you go. And so I talked to Ariana and Cynthia for like 30 minutes over Zoom and like did that first story, which was great. And I talked to Mark Platt and John and Chu and a bunch of people. And then when it turned out that it was time for the cover, I was like, well, I'm just going to sort of walk through that door and sort of, I think we had a great enough vibe, me, Ariana, and Cynthia specifically, that when it was announced that they were going to be our cover, I think they were like, oh, we would like Chris to write it.
Yeah.
So, and I'm gonna step up to the plate when that
Wait, that's
when
so
that happens.
cunty.
So.
To be like, I have a great vibe with Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo.
Yeah. Again,
not many people can say that.
Not many people can say that.
We were queening. We were literally queening out, and we continued to queen out for like basically the whole summer, which was really fun. But it really, I have to say, it's timing and love of the game. You just got to start.
Yeah.
You got to write these pieces. You think they're not going to get anywhere. You know, I wrote a piece being like, they should switch parts for the second movie. They don't do that, but I still think they could. They are both talented enough that they could, and I would be so gagged. But like, you do stuff like that, and then people notice and like it, and then when you get the chance to talk to them, you just queen out. And,
It's what a woo-woo girl would call manifestation. Yeah. What an LA girl would call manifestation.
And I didn't mention the crystals that I had. In this room right now.
A lot of crystals.
All of a sudden, like
crystals charged in the moonlight.
Mood boards, vision boards. A lot of that too.
Okay, want to talk more about your story, mostly about how I think. What's a nice way to say this? You really capture the friendship between Cynthia and Ariana in a way that like really worked for me. I'm like, oh, these are like, because some of the stuff it's like a little bit too much for me. I'm like, okay, you know, I love women empowering other women, but
no, you don't. But continue.
But I think you really like cast exactly the right point of view on their relationship and this moment and this movie and how it feels like kind of lovely that they found each other as friends in this way.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate you saying that. It's funny. I think one, I will say, to be fair to everybody else and all the press that's come before, I was lucky that I got to be like first. Like I was, at the, in the summer, like the article came out in September, and since then the press tour's really taken off. So I'll definitely take, it's not just the story. I think, even though I do think
well, if you're not first, you're last.
Well, exactly, and I actually did, and I was like, we're gonna be first. But something that I found from like spending so much time with them, like over the summer, was they're really different. They're really different women, and they overlap in some very specific ways. Their love of fashion, their incredible vocal ability, and just talent as actors, definitely. But their relationship is really sort of built on the differences between them, and like they like learned a lot from each other in a way. Like I think Ariana learned how to be sort of strong and like no nonsense, and like be like, no, this is what I want. This is what I came here to do. And sort of, they're not that far apart in age, but I think looked up to Cynthia a little bit in that way. And Cynthia, I think, learned to like not take things as seriously and be a little fun and a little goofy and like and like enjoy the moment and like go on this wild ride that I think Ariana's a little bit more accustomed to, coming from like the pop star background. So I really wanted to like capture them both as individuals and show that like they're like very stark differences when combined. Like they really do connect and learn from each other, and then the sum is greater than its parts.
I would say that about two people in this room as well.
Okay, who's the alpha one? Who's the Glinda?
About me.
Wait, I was thinking this.
I will say, Hunter's the Cynthia.
Are you a good witch or a bad witch? What do you
Oh wait, I'm messy and gay. Hold on, I'm Cynthia.
I was like, really? It's more complicated than you think.
But I was thinking more because when you're describing them, like not to pigeonhole myself as an LA woo-woo bitch, but the Cancer and the Capricorn of it all. Like Cynthia's such a Capricorn.
She
and
really is.
Ari, my crybaby queen, is that's complimentary, obviously. It's such a Cancer, and I think that's such an interesting balance between them.
It's so funny because I was like, when we first started talking, I was like, wow, all right. I'm like asking questions and Ariana's crying. I'm like, wow, this is so special. And I was like, yeah, she cries a lot. She's a Cancer. I was like, it's still special, but I was like, okay, it might not be because I'm so amazing.
You're like, okay. You're like the new couples therapy starring Chris Murphy, actually.
Oh my God, I wish, Dr. Orn, I wish.
But as someone who has seen the movie multiple times at this point, can you tell us what you thought of it and what worked for you in this version of it?
I mean, it's like the expectations, and not to go back to like, I've been waiting for this since I was 10 years old. So there's a lot of high expectations. And like, I, again, not to brag, but like, I know this thing like the back of my hand. Like I could sing every song, every note, every inflection. We could play alphabet roulette right now. I do a really good job of all the girls who've sung this show before. And like, I really do think, and I think it's a testament to like John M. Chu, who is like a musical genius. He's like a Lin-Manuel Miranda style of like cinema, movie musicals. I think he's like literally a genius in his ability to adapt to stage production and to create musical numbers on screen that don't feel like music videos or cut in some weird way or don't really make sense or are more style than substance. Like he really like blows up the world and like it makes it bigger and more expansive, and like the scope of it and the scale of it is crazy, and yet gets these really grounded, amazing performances from both Cynthia and Ariana that like really are like, again, very, very like paying homage to Kristen and Adina and what came before, but are completely their own. They're like really, it's a hard thing to do to like, you know, step into these characters that have been played by so many women and to like make it feel personal, but also not make it feel like weird in a real way. So, I mean, I saw it the first time I saw it, I was at Universal. It was like end of the summer. I was alone. There's just like a man watching me watch it in a big theater to make sure that I wasn't recording any of it, which I'm so mad because I wish that I had it on my phone. But I don't have it. But it wasn't even done yet. Like most of the CGI was like drawings. Like sometimes the Dr. Dillman would be a goat and then sometimes it would be like sketches. So it was like a very like, so I was like, oh, like I can tell like it's not done yet. And like if he sticks the landing, like this could be like a sensational adaptation of this Broadway play. And then I saw it like a month later. I was like, oh, he fucking did it. He did it. They did it. So yeah, I guess, oh my God, yeah, maybe I am a lover because I just think
you're talking like a lesbian lover.
Like a U-Haul. I moved in with Wicked. I am like, oh, but it really does live up to the
summer
hype.
we fell in love. Like, come on.
It's only been a couple months, but we're in love. But yeah, I do think and there will be haters and people will be like, see the color of this one scene, or like, I couldn't hear this one thing. And like, that's fine. That's all well and good. I think when you take it all in and you think about the expectations, what it needed to deliver and what the show is, which again, like you could be like, I actually don't like the show. I actually don't think this is a compelling arc. You'd be crazy. But I think it's sort of like the platonic ideal of what a Wicked movie could be.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have a really quick follow-up question, actually. Are there any supporting character, like, moments that really stuck with you or people we should keep an eye on?
Oh my gosh. I mean, Jonathan Bailey giving, like, bi-curious Fiyero. Like, he has chemistry with every single person on the screen. There is not a person at Shiz University that he does not, you know, have some sort of sexual energy for in a very good way.
That's always a compliment.
And actually, I'm mad because why wasn't he Sexiest Man Alive? No, I'm sorry. I'm doing it January 6th right now. Like, that's who it should have been. I was shocked that it wasn't, actually.
It's actually crazy that it wasn't. And like, well, you'll see. Well, I guess he was busy being on the VF Hollywood cover. So,
say that.
Somebody knew that he might be the Sexiest Man Alive.
That's so media stupid. Like, oh my God. Beeping. Like, hate that.
But no, he's amazing. I mean, it really, across the board, everyone's great. Jeff Goldblum is literally like, it feels like most of his lines are improvised. That's how like wacky he is as the wizard. Michelle Yeoh, just like actual like Dame, it should be Dame Michelle Yeoh, I know, but like she's like so like Grande, it's like so
We've
incredible.
moved past Mother to
Dame, like Mother, like we know that, like we're in another realm. And then like Bowen Yang, like stealing every scene he's in with these like incredible one-liners that like I won't spoil, but are just, it's across the board like triumph of musical theater movie musicals, which we need, like now more than ever. We need it.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. Some of us remember West Side. West Side was great. Not enough people saw it. We need this.
I'm going to leave that where it was.
Wait, I just looked at Hunter in slow motion. I was the camera and I panned to Hunter because I know hundreds of you of West Side. You don't want it, child. You don't want it.
Well, off camera, we'll get into it because I know there's
Oh, I got so quiet in the studio.
That was really funny.
Oh my God. Okay, I have a very important question. Yeah. What did you think of the Kim Kardashian private screening? The Kardashian family private screening? And did you do that Q&A as well?
Yeah. Kim flew me over. Yeah, Kim flew me over. I mean, honestly, I should have asked.
You're part of the whole experience now.
You know what? That is really nice. But that is one part of the experience that I was not actually involved in. And I can understand why they did it as Kim Kardashian is Kim Kardashian. I'm sure all of, the 79 Kardashian kids, all want to see it. And like, also I think Kim sort of gets whatever she wants. If she wants to wear a dead woman's dress, she can wear that. She can wear, no, it's true. I think it's like,
she not took the dress off the body.
Literally. I'm surprised she's in the movie if she wanted to be in the movie. And so I think like as a promotional, I can understand the frustration from the public being like, that private screening, it's tough to see someone who has the world get even more of the world too. Yeah. But I think it was honestly genuinely like out of like the goodness of like everyone involves Universal's heart, Ariana and Cynthia, that like there are a bunch of kids here who like want to see the movie and like get dressed up and like have a really nice experience with their family, and they provided that. I think the optics are like, they are what they are.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Universal Studios.
Okay. I said I'm on the Yellow Brick Road. I'm in the.
Okay, another very important question. Have you seen Gladiator 2 yet?
Okay, I haven't seen Gladiator 2 yet.
What do you think about like the Barbenheimer kind of trying to make that into a thing?
Well, obviously it's like a little forced, but like I don't think that's like necessarily a bad thing. Like, oh wow, like we can only have one good thing one time in our lives.
Yeah.
Like Barbenheimer was like, why shouldn't we try to redo that? It worked. It was so great.
Yeah.
Everybody won in a way from the Barbenheimer of it all. So I'm glad that I'm not mad that they're like trying to do it again with Glickit or Gladickit or Wicked
Gladickit.
That's the
first time.
That's the one that I said.
Oh my gosh.
The gays, the real gays, calling it Gladickit.
They're over on Montrose, Gladickit.
And I do hope it's like, and I think the one thing that really worked for Barbenheimer is that both movies were arguably like had lots of fans. Were very good, and like and one went on to win Best Picture. Hopefully, I haven't seen Gladiator 2 yet. I've heard good, not great things. So I don't know if it's going to end up having like the impact that like Barbenheimer did just because of that.
Yeah.
But like I'm not like people are like, oh, it's like lightning can only strike once. Like we had Barbenheimer, we should never do it again. It's like I would want a Barbenheimer every year. Give me one every year.
I want it every weekend. Actually,
why that TikTok's on that's like, I don't know what it is, but I want 12 more of them right now. That's literally
exactly.
that.
Exactly. So I'm like, if this is what it's giving, then let's lean in. Like it's something for everybody. Let's go.
Yeah.
Get me to the multiplex.
You are a lover at heart.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ooh, nasty. Well, thank you so much, Chris. Where can people follow you?
Okay, I guess for the time being, let me start with Instagram. Let's start there. You can find me on Instagram at Chris Triss, and then Blue Sky, I guess, at Chris Triss too, and even Twitter for now.
Yeah.
And also you can read my stuff at Vanity Fair, I guess,
Perfect.
in the magazine and out of the magazine.
And then can you just do us a really quick final favor? I'm just going to need you to stare down the barrel of the camera right here and tell us if you are a good witch or a bad witch.
Oh, honey. I'm a bad witch.
Okay. Thank you. That tight zoom. That was not after being like, I'm a lover.
Again, I said moon, the moon.
Actor.
The moon is there. The hater moon.
Thank you so much, Chris.
God, thank you. This is the best in the world. You two are the best in the world.
In New York City recently, there was a Timothee Chalamet lookalike contest, which you might know this already, benefited Club Chalamet in ways that you cannot even imagine. And now these lookalike competitions have gone global. They've gone, dare I say, Mr. Worldwide.
Incredibly Mr. Worldwide. And I will say I was out. I was over it. But I'm back in. I'm back, baby. Don't you worry. After specifically the Chicago Jeremy Allen White. No, go
ahead. Say it. No, say it how you said
it.
Jeremy
Allen White competition in Chicago, and seeing.
Okay, let me just jump in very quickly and say that these competitions have been happening a lot of places. There have been a Paul Mescal competition in Dublin, a Harry Styles competition in London, a Dev Patel competition in San Francisco. And then over the weekend, I saw a Jeremy Allen White competition in Chicago, and I DM'd it to Peyton. And when I like DM'd her on Twitter, through 3 different mediums, she responded to me. She was so excited about it. She literally responded to me on Twitter.
Yeah.
And they responded to me again via text.
Yeah.
And they responded to me twice more via Instagram. And I was like, ooh, girl, I know she's jingling her jewel box.
I am. Because specifically, I just hadn't laughed like that in years. When I tell you, I was expecting to see your typical, like the competition, everyone that came out for the Timothee Chalamet competition made sense. Little twinks all around.
Including Timothee Chalamet.
Yes, including Timothee Chalamet showing up. Looking the least like Timothee Chalamet.
Totally made sense.
But when I saw about 3 dykes, 1 black guy, 1 Asian girl show up for the Jeremy Allen White competition, I said, no, I'm in it. This is the funniest thing I've ever seen. Specifically the black guy. There are, phenotypical character traits that we all have, like the way that Martha Stewart kind of looks like, or wait, no, who is it? The way that Future kind of looks like
Meryl Streep.
Absolutely,
yes.
Mixing up my white queen, sorry. But this black guy looked nutty.
I think the key part, though, is in the video that we're talking about, it's like it's kind of like they're walking on an aisle. Like they're walking on like one after the other. Like if you ever had to do an Easter program at church, you know what I'm talking about. Like some people are running really fast. Like some people are like kind of taking their time. Like, but it was just really one after the other. And it's like, oh wait, a black guy's there? Okay, totally. Totally. I see it.
Everyone was like, wait, did he? Okay. Like, it's like, I think he has like twists or dreads and then he's like wearing glasses. He's not even wearing the full apron bit. Like he's not even committing to the bit. He's
I think
just
that's the other part,
t-shirt.
which makes the Jeremy Allen White one like top tier in my mind. Is that at like the Timothee Chalamet one, it's like, oh, they're like so many. They're like there are chocolatier Timmys, there were like Call Me By Your Name Timmys, there were Ladybird Timmys, you know, whatever. They just are called NYU students. But at the Jeremy Allen White one, they were really kind of all in costume, like all wearing like an apron and a white shirt.
Yes,
and like smoking cigs.
No Lip Gallagher representation, but that's okay with me. But I will say the Zayn Malik one in, is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
Zayn Malik.
In New York City,
New York City. That one, the second place person was a masked lesbian. And I was like, well, now we're cooking. Now we're getting somewhere.
Okay.
I like the lesbian. Zayn looks like a lesbian, especially early days, 1D Zayn.
I'll give it to you. Relax. I did see people on Twitter saying DEI, but for her inclusion, their inclusion.
Something that I think is really important to remember is that these lookalike competitions just affirms what I've been saying for years, which is you're all gay. You're all lesbians. The lesbians look exactly like all the boys that you like. Jeremy Allen White, Zayn. Those are lesbian women. A little more maskified. So come on out. The water's fine.
Interesting.
Hunter.
I did just get my nails cut.
She did. Okay, my culture's not a costume, not too much, but that one was maybe taking it for me. That was my favorite so far.
Okay, yeah. No, the Jeremy Allen White one was good because that one guy who showed up so late, smoking cigs with flowers, he's like, I was gonna be the paparazzi shot, whatever. I was like,
being like, no photos.
It was like, how do you even know that? Like, how did this fact that's so terminally brain-rottingly online make its way to like whatever little dive bar you hang out in?
Yeah.
Like wherever you get your little beer and shot. Like, how did that come together?
Was actually not. I was very pro the Asian girl and the black guy being there. God bless, give them second and third place. But there was one guy that was maybe pushing 50. And I
didn't see that one, but I have a lot of sneaks. A lot of people who I was like, you're just a white man.
The Harry Styles one too. You just have a receding hairline.
But, also it's very hard to be like a Harry Styles lookalike. You know, like it's like that kind of looks like everything and nothing.
More lesbians should have come out for that one.
Yeah, I guess.
And like a sweater that Princess Diana would wear.
Honestly, now that I'm kind of shocked that Christopher Nolan didn't show up at one of these just to cast, just to take a look around.
I mean, some kid got a modeling like contract through the Timothee Chalamet one. And maybe that could be you. And then in the upcoming Zendaya Oakland lookalike contest.
What can I say? Well. I don't know. I don't know if you've heard, but according to every newspaper in the world, there's a male loneliness epidemic. And I'm like, where's the loneliness? They're all listening to Rogan instead of going to a male lookalike competition. Get out of your house. Oh my gosh. I like it though. It's like, it's another way that men are like embracing vanity and kind of like self-delusion in a way that feels very like pleasant and not actively harmful.
Yeah.
Like not actively voting for a fascist president. Like all of that, I think amounts to a lot.
I will say men are doing my favorite thing right now, which is embarrassing themselves. And that I will always hold space and time for.
That's your favorite thing that men do?
When they tell on themselves. When I look at the Harry Styles lookalikes coming on out, go ahead, King. With your shoulders back and your titties up, being like, this is Harry Styles,
did you see our friend Ian's post about the Challengers lookalike, the Challengers Boys lookalike competition? And
no.
Ian was like, so who's going to make my coffee tomorrow?
Is that one in LA?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I think
God bless
so.
everyone living in Silver Lake and Mid-City. Good luck to you.
Okay, so what competition would you like to see next? Oh.
The Dwayne The Rock Johnson competition. Sorry, I'm very, after his little GQ shoot, I'm very Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
What did I tell you the last time you said this? I said, go to a MAGA rally. You'll see a bunch.
And you?
Desi from Girls Lookalike competition.
Girl, go to Cobble Hill.
That's where I live. That's where I live. I will walk around.
You've gotten doxxed before. I would not be careful what you say next. Well, that's it for this week. As usual, we are 2 online, so you don't have to be.
And speaking of lookalikes, I was at the Louis Vuitton boutique or flagship opening. Ooh. And I saw Jules, son of Solange, and I was like, I wonder if he's looking over at me thinking, she looks just like my mom.
We live in hell, but A Reason to Live, Wicked comes out this week, thank God.
And don't forget that Martha Stewart and I are both Leos. That's very important information.